Hello, Giants fans, and welcome to a bonus edition of Valentine's Views here on YouTube. I'm your host, Ed Valentine, editor of Big Blue View. Please like and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube if you're enjoying our content. So let's get right into it, Giants fans. Huge fracas out at Giants training camp on Monday. Yours truly was on hand as the Giants in the midst of an incredibly physical practice, got into a massive fracas. Saquon Barkley, a little overly aggressive, thumping into cornerback Aaron Robinson. That led to some other activities. Tay Crowder dumping. I'm not sure if it was Gary Brightwell or Antonio Williams dumping him to the ground. That led to John Feliciano and Tay Crowder and Cam Brown and a mess of other people, including offensive line coach, Bobby Johnson getting into it. And you may have seen by now the photo of Cam Brown basically dragging Feliciano out of a pile, both hands on Feliciano's guardian cap, with Feliciano appearing to play dead pretty much as he was dragged out of the pile. Feliciano, of course, jumped up when Brown let him go, jumped up and started swinging, started throwing punches. And this is what I want to talk about. I get it. Boys will be boys, as they say, and football players are still boys. They're still testosterone-filled, competitive, hard-nosed, tough guys. And in the midst of training camp, couple days of padded practices in 100-degree heat, after working against offense and defense, working against each other for basically 2 solid weeks now. These guys are a little tired of each other. They're a little edgy. They've got some grudges. And in the heat, nearly 100 degrees today in East Rutherford, New Jersey, things exploded on the field. But here's what I don't get. Why do football players throw punches at each other? This is what I want to talk about. Why do they do that? Brian Daboll talks about this. All NFL coaches talk about this. They want smart, tough, dependable players. Well, what is smart about being a football player and throwing a punch with your hand at a player who's wearing a 6 to 8 pound football helmet with a face mask on it, who's wearing shoulder pads, who's fully padded? What's smart about that? The only thing you're going to do is hurt yourself. The only thing you're going to do is break your hand and be out of action for a while, which is not smart, and it doesn't make you dependable, and it kind of sort of makes you a fake tough guy, because you can't hurt the guy. You're throwing a punch at a guy you can't hurt. So I don't, I just don't understand throwing punches at guys wearing helmets and full pads. I don't get it. It's not smart. It doesn't make any sense to me. It never has. I don't get it. One other thing I want to talk about in relationship to the fight is Brian Daboll's reaction to the fight. Listen, there was a huge melee in camp a year ago. Daniel Jones ended up at the bottom of that pile. It was ugly. It was, fortunately, Jones didn't get hurt, but Joe Judge at the time was Giants head coach, and Judge reacted to that fight by stopping practice, by making players run 100-yard sprints for probably 10 solid minutes. And obviously those sprints became guys basically dragging themselves up and down the field. The entire time they were listening to an F-bomb filled tirade from the head coach about how unacceptable that kind of action was. And I thought that it's worth pointing out the difference in the way that Brian Daboll reacted this afternoon when this melee happened. Daboll stopped practice once everyone was separated, once everyone got pulled apart. He stopped practice. He gathered everyone together on the field. There was a lengthy meeting on the field, and then the Giants went back to practice. The second and third teams finished up their reps, and then practice ended 10 to 15 minutes later. The first teams never got back out on the field. And I'm sure, I don't know if that was because of the melee or simply because of the distribution of reps in terms of the schedule that the Giants were keeping. But I thought it was interesting. There was no huge tirade from Daboll. There was no visible punishment. Rookie tight end Daniel Bellinger, who maybe said more than he probably should have when he met with media after the after practice ended, said that Daboll's comment to the team basically amounted to losing teams behave the way that the Giants did on the field on Monday afternoon. But Bellinger also said that Daboll actually liked the physicality of practice. He's liked the way that the Giants have gotten after each other in terms of competing with each other. So there is that. Just really, really interesting. And it points out, the difference to me in terms of the way that Brian Daboll treats players, versus the temperament of the quote unquote tough guy, Joe Judge. So, we'll see if that ends up, helping the Giants in the long run. The only other thing to say about this, Jihad Ward kind of tried to laugh it off after practice, saying that guys would forget about it quickly and that they'd be laughing about it, pretty soon. And it's funny because as I record this, you already see John Feliciano making fun of the memes that are online, regarding him being dragged out of the pile by Cam Brown. You see him offering free tickets for the best meme, cracking jokes about it online. So anyway, big fracas out at camp today. Thought it was worth talking about for a couple minutes. As I said, I do not understand NFL players throwing punches at guys wearing helmets and full pads. Anyway, Giants fans, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.